And Willi is going to speak with us this morning about how vote matters. Why is it important to go voting and why each vote counts. Please welcome Willi Duckworth.
Tip top of the morning, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmasters, and honored guests. This is certainly an opportunity that I welcome to speak to you from the subject, one vote matters. I recall a quote from my youth that the Miami Herald would print on the pages, the front page of the paper around election time that says, if you don't vote on Tuesday, don't complain on Wednesday. The operative word is you. Many people choose not to vote for various reasons, including the belief that their one vote does not matter. It is my intention to dispel that notion today, as history is replete with the importance of just one single vote. In just 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks rather, Americans will cast their ballot for the next president of the United States and a host of other elected officials to hopefully make America an even greater place to live, work, and play. This is not a political speech. My purpose is to simply encourage you to vote because your vote does matter. You are important to the democratic process. In an effort to show you the importance of one vote, I wish to share with you several examples from across the course of history, dating as far back as 1645. In that year, England became under the control of Oliver Cromwell by just one vote. A scant 4 years later, King Charles I of England was beheaded because 68 people said it should be so. 67 said no. One vote matters. Guten Morgen. We get as dear sprechen Sie Deutsch. That was my awful rendition of German, saying, good morning, how are you? Do you speak German? That's right. Did you not know that in 1776, one vote gave us the English language as the official language of the United States at that time? One vote. Sadly, in 1844, a gentleman by the name of Freeman Clark died after casting his vote. Listen to his story. Mr. Clark lived in the state of Illinois. On election day in 1844, he was seriously ill. His sons, at what turned out to be his dying request, carried him to the county seat so that he can cast his vote for state senator candidate Mr. David Kelso. You see, Mr. Kelso was his attorney. Mr. Clark was charged with murder, and Mr. Kelso defended him that he was acquitted on all charges. After he cast his vote, he died on the way home. Mr. Kelso became state senator by one vote. One vote matters. Texas, the largest state in the continental United States, was admitted into the Union by, you guessed it, one vote in 1845. 1 year later, President Polk's request for a declaration of war against our southern neighbor Mexico was approved by a one-vote margin. In 1850, California joined the one-vote union and mission of which Texas was the inaugural member. Both of them would welcome the state of Oregon 9 years later in this exclusive club, at least up to that point in history. The highest office in the land in which Americans would cast their votes in 13 days was won by one vote in the year 1876. That's right. No presidential contender received a majority of the electoral votes. This resulted in the victor having to be determined by the U.S. House of Representatives. The House voted for Rutherford B. Hayes as the next president by a one-vote margin. you probably would have done the same thing as Governor Samuel Tilden, his opponent. Governor Tilden demanded a recount. A 15-member committee was appointed. After deliberations, the committee voted 8-7 for Rutherford B. Hayes. One vote. I don't know if you've ever lived in the Washington, D.C. area. It is bordered by Maryland and Virginia. And as you're leaving Washington, D.C. on Interstate 295 headed to Interstate 495, you will notice a bridge called the W Bridge. That's not World War, that's Woodrow Wilson. Where Interstate 495 travels from Virginia to Maryland is the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. I don't believe that bridge would be named after Woodrow Wilson if his opponent, Charles E. Hughes, had received only one vote in each of California's precincts. Yes, just one vote would have denied President Woodrow Wilson a second term. And who knows, the WW Bridge may have come to be known as the CEH Bridge. 6 million people. That's right. 6 million people that met their demise in what we know as the Holocaust, in all likelihood would have died less violent deaths if not for just one vote. On November 8, 1923, members of the then recently formed Revolutionary Political Party met to elect a leader in a Munich, Germany beer hall. By a majority of one vote, they chose an ex-soldier named Adolf Hitler to become the Nazi Party leader. It is almost certain the course of history would have taken a different path had it not been for just one vote that propelled Adolf Hitler to become one of the most despicable leaders in the history of mankind. I think I bored you enough with the foregoing. There are many other instances in history that prove that one vote does matter. One vote can make a difference. One vote probably would have allowed a former Navy officer by the name of John F. Kennedy to have died a gray-headed, arthritis-infected, wheelchair-bound, and old man with Alzheimer's to boot. Why? One vote per precinct in Illinois, Missouri, New Jersey, and Texas may have caused former President Richard Nixon, to avoid the embarrassment of Watergate, which resulted in his disgraceful resignation from the office of the President of the United States of America. Had those precincts in Illinois, Missouri, New Jersey, and Texas voted for Nixon, he would have secured the presidency 8 years earlier, and he did. And John F. Kennedy probably would be not lying in Arlington National Cemetery. One vote, and we probably would not have known who Spiro Agnew was. One vote, and the tall man from Texas, LBJ, whose wife we affectionately know as Lady Bird Johnson, probably would not have taken the oath of office of the presidency of the United States aboard Air Force One. One vote, and I would not have witnessed, as a 5th grader, the power of prayer in school. You see, on November 22nd, 1963, a day that shall live in infamy, I believe, somebody had the audacity to shoot and kill our president, John F. Kennedy. I was a 5th grader at the time, and at that time you can pray in school. The principal came over the PA system at about 1:30 that afternoon and announced that the President of the United States of America, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, has just been assassinated. My teacher cried, and I cried. It was indeed a sad day, not only for the United States, but for the entire world, just because of one vote. Don't waste this precious American gift on the freedom to vote by thinking that your one vote does not matter. It does. It truly does. If you're undecided, that's okay. Get with someone whose advice you trust. Ask them to help you make up your mind, because you truly believe that your one vote